Welcome to London. Oh, hang on. This is not London. This is somewhere else. Welcome to Matjiesfontein, in the middle of nowhere in South Africa. Let's go and explore. So the number 12 bus here in Matjiesfontein takes you to the Lord Milner Hotel, Transport Museum, Tweedside Lodge, the Laird Arms Pub. A lot of history, and I'm going to show you around. And here's a map of the Western Cape. There's Cape Town. There's Matjiesfontein. There's the sign, Matjiesfontein. And Matjiesfontein is part of the Great Karoo region here in South Africa, a semi-desert area. And the name Matjiesfontein is quite interesting as well. So it is named after a type of sedge or reed called matjiesgoed, from which they made mats. Mats used in the construction of houses. And Matjiesfontein, therefore the fountain of little reeds. So there where the trucks and the cars drive, that's the N1. National Road 1 here in South Africa. The N1 connects Cape Town and Johannesburg, but it goes up to the Bait Bridge at the border of South Africa and Zimbabwe. You just take this road off the N1 and you get to a piece of Victorian South Africa. It really is like a part of Victorian England or Victorian Britain carved out and put here. And there's the train tracks as well. This is a typical Karoo setting, but also it's flower season in South Africa, so all the flowers are out as well. The start of spring. And here we're getting to the station, the old railway station here at Matjiesfontein. And I'll talk a little bit more about the history in due course, but I just want to show you more of the platform. There's the sign, Matjiesfontein. Altitude 2,957 feet. Station here. And gosh, look at this junction for road transport. You can see 195 miles to Cape Town. More of a station, the old platform here. And it looks like there's some people living there on the other side of the tracks. Yeah, some of the... Oh, the platform. What have we got here? Conference center. I think it's pretty shut. So I'm sure some of you might think this is part of a moon. Look at this, a moon landscape. Well, it's not part of a moon. It's not part of a moon landscape. It's part of a Karoo here in South Africa. But would you be surprised if I were to tell you that NASA has got an interest here? In fact, last year, so 2022, a new ground station for NASA's lunar exploration program was announced to be under construction here. And it's scheduled to go online in 2025. And a great vantage point here of the Lord Milner Hotel, which we'll talk about in a second. And a few other buildings, and there's the red London bus. And we're actually seeing a passing train here in Matjiesfontein. Hello. I did not expect to see that, but maybe now is a good opportunity to tell you a little bit more about the railways in South Africa. So this train here is running on the railway line that was built in the 19th century. So what happened in the 19th century in South Africa? So in the 1860s, diamonds were discovered in South Africa near Kimberley, and in the 1880s gold was discovered in the Johannesburg Witwatersrand area. And obviously in that time, in the 19th century, there was a need for towns and cities to become better connected. And John Molteno, when he was the Prime Minister of a Cape Colony, rumour has it that he drew a line with a ruler on a piece of map from Cape Town inland and said to his engineers, please go and build me a railway line. And Matjiesfontein eventually became one of those many stations that got added to the line. And the station here was originally opened in 1878. So when we took the road here from the N1, there was actually a Scottish flag that we drove past. And that is because Matjiesfontein and Scotland has something in common. So undoubtedly the most important person in the history of Matjiesfontein was a Scottish person by the name of James Douglas Logan. Now, James Douglas Logan was born in Scotland, in Berwickshire, in 1857. Berwickshire is in Scotland, but it's on the border with England. And he was instrumental in the development of Matjiesfontein. Matjiesfontein was originally only a small depot and a farm. James Douglas Logan established Matjiesfontein in 1884. Now just look at all these beautiful houses here. A bit of Victorian England sliced out, carved and then put down here in the Karoo in South Africa. And these lampposts, I think some of them were imported from London. That's what I've read. Not sure if that particular one was. There you can see the red bus. I love how they've kept this town in its original form. The Standard Bank Museum. And here you go, so the bank. Excuse me, can I get some money, please? Oh, hang on, yeah, it's just a museum, so if you're looking for money, it's not going to be here. So let me tell you a little bit more about James Douglas Logan. He arrived in South Africa by accident, really. So what happened was he boarded a ship to Australia when he was 20 years old. But the ship got damaged in the Cape of Storms and had to be repaired at Simonstown. And he was stuck on the ship. And he didn't want to be stuck. So he decided, well, let me just see if I can try my luck here in South Africa instead, rather than Australia. And he had £5 in his pocket, but he became a very rich man not too long after that. And what happened was he found a job in the railways. So he had a bit of a railways background in Scotland as well. He started working for the Cape Government Railways in 1877. He was very ambitious. So he rose quickly through the ranks, and he became the superintendent on a section of a railway linking Cape Town and Kimberley. He married Emma Haylett and they moved here to Matjiesfontein. And because of the remoteness of this place here, land was quite cheap in 1883, and Logan bought 2,888 hectares for the sum of £400. And he built his farm Tweedside, which was a very interesting place. So it was the first place in South Africa to have a flushing toilet. It also had the longest private telephone line in South Africa at the time, 20 kilometers from Tweedside here to Matjiesfontein. So he definitely loved to live a life of luxury back then. He obtained a huge catering contract through his friend in Parliament through a bit of a dodgy deal, and he became very wealthy as a result of it. But unfortunately that catering contract was also at the heart of the downfall of Cecil John Rhodes's first government. But nonetheless, Logan was a very, very rich man, and he was able to build Matjiesfontein. So there's the Lord Milner Hotel. It's apparently a haunted hotel because this facility was built by Logan in 1899, so during the Anglo Boer War, or the South African War, and it was also used as a military hospital for the British forces. So there were about 12,000 British forces stationed here around Matjiesfontein. One of the ghosts that you will come across here is Kate the nurse. And Kate was a nurse here during the Anglo Boer War, and she used to play card games with some of the patients, and they say that sometimes now you can still hear her playing cards or shuffling the cards. But let's go check out this beautiful building. I wonder if it's open. I can go in. Dag sir, hello. Just checking up here. So yeah, this would have been an old military hospital for the British. A typical hotel room, yeah. Looks unoccupied. And another rooming there. Beautiful lights. Yeah, and some photos here of British soldiers or officers of the British Army. So several British military regiments were stationed here during the Anglo Boer War or the South African War. So the 17th Lancers were here, the Middlesex Regiment as well, and the Coldstream Guards, I believe, as well. Dankie julle, tot ziens. Just exiting the hotel and coming to the main street here in Matjiesfontein. Yeah, what do you think of this small town in South Africa, in the middle of nowhere here in the Karoo? Let me know in the comments. Yeah, you've got some directions to London and New York. They are thousands of kilometers away, but the Pink Church is only 135 meters away. And some of the other towns here, you can see Johannesburg, more than 1,000 kilometers away, but you just go on the N1 straight and you'll get there. And all the other and you can see Cape Town, 236 kilometers over there. And I love that they've got the tourist attractions of Matjiesfontein here as well. Gift shop, Pink Church, Lord Milner Hotel, Laird's Arms Pub. So Logan is known as the Laird of Matjiesfontein. So a laird in Scotland is the owner of a large estate, and a laird in Scotland is lower than a baron but higher than a gentleman. So this is more than a gentleman's town. This is a laird's town here in Matjiesfontein. Here we go, Boomstraat. And look, there's the old transport museum and the fire and rescue truck. And over here, yeah, just hear the birds. Absolutely spectacular nature. Now, I speak under correction, but I think this was the old courthouse here in Matjiesfontein. Yeah, quite possibly the most beautiful part of Matjiesfontein for me here, in this part with the old gravel road still intact, and Pink Church just over there, and obviously the old cricket field over here, and another old house here. So Logan had a respiratory disease or a lung disease, and one of the things about Matjiesfontein that really appealed to him was the dry air of the Karoo. And he also established a health spa here for people to come and get healthy. And he was always trying to make money. He was a very shrewd businessman. And as we look there at the tracks again, one of the things that he quickly realized in this part of the world is, with a lack of water supply, that there's another opportunity for him to make money. And he knew that trains passing through the Karoo needed about 250,000 litres of water. So what he did was he invested £1,000 in finding a suitable water supply, and he actually did find a source that could pump up to 50,000 litres of water per hour. and he found a means to pipe it here to Matjiesfontein, as we just passed the pink church here as well. Pink church, 1895. If anyone knows why it's pink, let me know. I'd love to hear, because most of the other buildings here are white. But I was talking about the water, so Logan actually ended up supplying more water than what was needed for the railways, and so he opened a water world here. Let's see if we can find out more about the church. Is it locked? Here we go. Yeah, it looks pretty locked. So yeah, just opposite the church, if you're a cricket fan, you're gonna absolutely love this, because Logan was also involved in cricket. In fact, he was one of the founding fathers of South African cricket. And as we cross here, there you can see the roller still, but this is where the cricket field would have been. Yeah, in Matjiesfontein. So in the 19th century, cricket was more than just a sport. It was a way of life, and it was a way to promote the values of the British Empire and of Victorian England. And Logan also saw cricket as a way to make more money for him. So he got involved in cricket in South Africa, and several of the England cricket players at the time played here in the 1890s and exercised their craft here. I'm trying to see where the pitch would have been. If it's still here, well, this would have been a very, very difficult wicket as well in the Karoo to play on. But yes, Matjiesfontein at the time, even though it's so far from Cape Town, but if you were an affluent person from Britain visiting South Africa, it became fashionable to visit Matjiesfontein and its spa. You could come and watch some cricket. The la-di-da of England would have come here to hang out and to experience something very different. But yeah, still looking for the pitch. Can't see the pitch, but yeah, as I said, several of the England cricketers of the 1890s would have played here in tour matches. Yeah, there's the roller, but I can't find the pitch. Still looking for the pitch and can't find it. But anyway, guys, let me tell you about the 1891-92 cricket season. And it's a fascinating one. If you're a cricket history buff, you'll probably know some of this, but there were two England cricket teams in 1891-92. One was a team captained by W.G. Grace, the famous W.G. Grace, the guy with a long beard. If you haven't heard of him, you might have seen him. He took a team to Australia, and Walter Reed was captain of another English cricket team that came to South Africa. And the team that came to South Africa came here without any financial assurances about how they would meet accommodation costs or how they would make their ends meet. And James Logan saw that as an opportunity to make some money and also to improve his own standing in the community by sponsoring a cricket tour. And what he did was he met with the captain Walter Reed and with Ash, who was the tour secretary. He met them at the Royal Hotel in Cape Town, and he said, I would give you £1,000 to help you sponsor your tour. And they accepted. However, at the end of the tour, they realized that they didn't really make a lot of money on the tour, and they also are not able to repay Logan his sum of money that he lent to them. So what did Logan do? Before the English cricket team boarded the ship, he had Walter Reed and Ash both arrested, and I think they were eventually released when they sort of pledged some sort of security. Quite bizarrely as well, in 1901, in the midst of the Anglo Boer War, Logan actually sponsored a cricket tour of South Africa to England, and there was huge uproar at the time about it, but he did manage to sponsor it through. And Sherlock Holmes' author Arthur Conan Doyle was one of those who wrote a letter saying it would be an outrage if South Africa would come to tour here because of a war. Yeah, here you see the roller of the old cricket pitch here. So the old Matjiesfontein ground, which was an integral part of the South African cricket fraternity in the 1890s. For all my Zimbabwe viewers, you might have heard of a Logan Cup. It's a domestic competition in Zimbabwe, and the Logan Cup there is named after James Douglas Logan from here. So there you go. And George Lohman was another famous cricketer who played for Surrey in England. One of the greatest all-rounders in the history of the game, but he was also later on stationed here at Matjiesfontein. He also had a lung or a respiratory problem, and James Logan told him, why not come to Matjiesfontein and I'll host you. And Lohman, the famous all-rounder, was actually also involved in some cricket coaching here, so which was another appeal for cricketers to visit Matjiesfontein, to get coached by Lohman. Yeah, some famous visitors here in Matjiesfontein was Lord Randolph Churchill, the father of Winston Churchill. The Sultan of Zanzibar was also here, and Sir David Gill, a famous astronomer as well, frequented Matjiesfontein. And there's the Laird's Arms. So you know the pink church that we saw earlier, so I don't know why it's pink, but I do know that the locals here say that you can get married at the pink church and then you can get divorced here at the pub, the Laird Arms Pub. They're playing music in Queen Victoria, an old pub here in Matjiesfontein. Yeah, here's the old post office. So Olive Schreiner, the famous South African author, writer, she used to post letters from here. And Edgar Wallace, the famous war correspondent, it is said that he stood over the telegraph here in this post office and announced to the Commonwealth the death of Queen Victoria. There's a curious shop here as well. Dag sê dame, hallo, kyk maar so 'n bietjie kyk, reg? Dankie. Some local produce. And here, some of the things for sale, yeah. So this is a popular thing in South Africa, are these dried pears, and they for sale here as well. Caramel waffles, almost like the stroopwafels you get in the Netherlands, and all types of jams, marmalades. Some shirts here as well. Matjiesfontein with a train. And right next to the post office, which is now a gift shop, you do have a cottage of Olive Schreiner. Olive Schreiner cottage. There you go. This is where she would have been stationed. And there you go, Olive Schreiner cottage. Yeah, the Lucisse's, that's where Logan would have provided accommodation for some people. And here you can see the old station here as well, petrol station, and some of the lamps. I think that's one of the lamps that were imported from London actually, here in Matjiesfontein. This is no longer in use, I don't think. Rare traffic action. You'll probably go to the N1, either to Johannesburg or towards Cape Town. Here's a coffee house, a coffee shop on here in Matjiesfontein. Let's check it out. Oh wow, there you go. Interior hier, dag sê.
Ja, cool. By die koffieshop in Matjiesfontein.
Welkom by die koffieshop. Ah, sê, lekker.
Ja. Van watter kant af kom u nou?
Ek kom van Londen, van Engeland af, maar ek woon woon daarso.
O, dis
Ek het net so 'n bietjie hier afgekom.
So jy 'n bietjie Londen vir ons Suid-Afrika toe.
Jy weet dit mos, ja, maar ek praat vir 'n Engelsman praat ek goed Afrikaans.
Nee, baie goed hoor.
Daar sê. Baie dankie hoor, dankie. Daar sê. And here you get an idea of the military history here as well, here in Matjiesfontein. Beautiful fireplace. Yeah, seating areas. And reception. Just ordering a coffee here, and I'm showing you more of a coffee shop. Yeah, this would have been a typical kitchen here in Matjiesfontein with the old fire ovens. Obviously Karoo biltong, so biltong is a dried meat. You see plain and chili. Ah, there's my coffee. Baie dankie. Yeah, and another cottage here, the I Bank Cottage. And yeah, here we go. This is beautiful, beautiful house, a lodge, Tweedside Lodge. So Tweedside, obviously the name of a farm of James Douglas Logan. And not sure if we can visit. Yeah, it looks pretty shut, but it really does look well kept as well. Beautiful gardens. I don't know if anyone actually still lives here. I don't think so. Maybe it's part of a wider museum of Matjiesfontein. Well, Matjiesfontein is essentially an open air Victorian museum here in South Africa. A small town, but one that punches above its weight in history, that's for sure. And it looks like there's a few more tourists about, which is great to see, because Matjiesfontein is one of those areas in South Africa. I think many people have heard about it. Certainly Afrikaans speaking people will have heard about the train naar Matjiesfontein, the train to Matjiesfontein, the song. I'm not sure how many people actually visit the town. Come to this part of the world, come and experience a slice of Victorian England in South Africa, and come and learn about its history, because it's fascinating. And I'm also going to see more towns here in the Karoo. This is part of this series of vlogs I'll be making in South Africa. And I'll put these vlogs also in the playlist South Africa, because there's already one, so it's not going to be a new series, but please come and check out more of Matjiesfontein if you do get the opportunity yourself. Alright guys, let's go and check out the museum. Yeah, 10 Rand per person. Entrance here, so. Oh wow. Let me chuck my $10 in there. Enjoy your visit. Yeah, so wow, lots of implements and stuff they would have used. Yeah, lots of typewriters here and other artifacts, ceramics and furniture, presumably stuff that would have been used in the town. Old piano. Over here, there's a piano again. No entry, but yeah, lots of little chairs and things for children. A cot. No entry here, but yeah, typical bedroom here in Matjiesfontein back in the day. Yeah, this definitely represents the way of life here in the Karoo. Farm equipment, so lots of sheep farming here in the Karoo, for example. And over here, shoes and presumably some military boots, and there you go. There's the Scottish flag, presumably in honour of James Douglas Logan, Union Jack. And yes, some military gear, medals and other trinkets. Right. And yeah, typical farm equipment and implements. Yeah, I just love walking around local museums. Not only does it tell you the history of a place, but it showcases the way of life and tells you more about how people lived. We're going up here as well. Yeah, a huge collection of stuff here. There's the man himself, James Douglas Logan. James Douglas Logan. And more stuff in here. Cameras and look at that old dentist workshop. Over there, medicine and things on display here. Dispensing department. And from the window here, a beautiful view of a station here at Matjiesfontein. And Queen Victoria on display here in the museum. Where to stay, the Hotel Milner in Matjiesfontein. Dated January 6, 1913. Yes, so Matjiesfontein in the early 20th century would have been the place for people from England coming down to South Africa. The elites to come and visit. They visited Cape Town and lots of them visited Matjiesfontein as well. Right. Onwards and upwards, they say. Alright guys, I think this is where I'll end the vlog. Almost where we started with a red bus. And if you haven't done it yet guys, please hit the like button, because I've been told the algorithm really likes it when you like videos, and I want to get these videos out to more people, so you can help me with the algorithm by liking the video. And also, if you haven't done it yet, please subscribe to the channel, because I've got loads more great content coming, including more spectacular towns here in the Karoo region of South Africa. So the middle of nowhere almost, really off the beaten track. And I'd really love for you to come and explore with me in the next videos as well, so do watch out for my next videos. And in the meantime, I hope you've got a great day, a great week, and I'll see you again soon. Take it easy. Cheers.